how's it going? So I'm standing in our brand new high tunnel that's in the back corner of the new area we're planting on the new property. And many of you have commented on it because you've been able to see it go up in stages kind of in the background of other videos. So today I want to show you the high tunnel, kind of explain what the whole structure is, why we put it here, what we're gonna use it for. First off, this is what it looks like from the outside. Today we are going to work on tidying up all the shade cloth and the plastic. Erin is already in there working on it. We're also going to run irrigation inside there. Let me give you kind of a pan here. I haven't planted anything in this space yet, but we just got our dahlias planted yesterday in that spot right there. And this is 14 feet wide by 50 foot long. Here's a view from the front. I love the Gothic arch style. I mean, this is the same shape as our other greenhouse, except this one is not permanent. Our other greenhouse has actual concrete, like it's anchored into the ground. This one is not. It's completely collapsible and movable, and that was one of the reasons why we chose it. It was actually far less expensive as well. You can see we have landscape fabric on the floor here, and we use the brand DeWitt Pro. It's really the only kind of landscape fabric that I'll ever use. I've tried others, and this is just the strongest. It holds up forever. And then we tacked it down with landscape staples about every 4 feet or so to keep it nice and tight and tidy. I think it's looking pretty good. So the reason why we put the fabric down is because we've got a lot of plants out by our other greenhouse. You guys might have seen it like in the background of videos, but we tend to get, you know, we partner a lot with Proven Winners doing projects, and we tend to get like one larger order of perennials and shrubs in the spring at some point. And then we just keep the plants around the greenhouse, trying to tend them to keep them looking really good until we're ready to use them in projects. Oftentimes it's really hard to keep them looking nice when it's, you know, close to 100 degrees or in past years over 100 degrees for weeks on end, and you've got these plants sitting on hot gravel, and we're having to hand water them every day, which takes between 30 and 45 minutes. That's a lot when you add it up through the course of the whole week. So we thought we could line up all those extra plants in here, give them a little reprieve from the harsh sun. Even the full sun-loving plants really benefit when they're in those little cans from being protected a little bit. And then we're gonna set them all up on a drip system to where we can have it run twice a day so that they're getting plenty of water. We're just trying to invest in keeping these plants looking the best. What has happened in previous years is I'll have a bunch of these plants sitting out around the greenhouse, and a lot of times I can't space them out far enough to where they're getting proper airflow. And then if they start looking bad and they have scorched leaves and stuff, I don't necessarily use them in video projects a lot. So then I ended up wintering them over in our greenhouse, which opens you up to risk of losing them, as it's always a risk to carry something over in a smaller plant can. So anyway, I'm hoping that this will keep our plants looking good. It's kind of funny though, when we initially bought the high tunnel, Erin and I had two completely different ideas of how we were going to use it, and we didn't even really talk about it until it was fully constructed. I had initially thought of planting my dahlias in here because, you know, they need a little bit of protection from wind, they need to be heavily staked, and I thought, oh, this is going to be perfect. I can plant them in here, they'll be protected from the majority of the wind, but they really do prefer having full sun. And I think that this structure, because like the dahlias, let me show you in proximity, they're in the same square, like they're right, am I pointing at the right spot? Yeah, they're right there. So the wind will hit this first before it hits them, and it may not provide a ton of protection, but a little bit. And we've got a pretty extensive staking system for them out there, and I think utilizing this for the shrubs is probably in the best way to go. Aaron did all of the research on this high tunnel, and he got it ordered. And I know that this project may not be applicable to some of you guys, but I thought you might enjoy seeing a behind the scenes look at what we're doing here today, just to prolong the health of our plants. And honestly, this whole high tunnel is cheaper than an iPhone. So even if you're a hobbyist grower or something like that and you have the space, something like this might be of interest to you. Erin, do you have anything else to add since you did all the research? I don't know very much about it except for I like it.
Not really. The only thing that I'm a little concerned about is the percentage of shade cloth. I went with the 50% shade cloth, and I wonder if I should have gone with a 30%, but I just don't know. But we'll find out at the end of this year.
Don't you feel like it's a 10-degree drop stepping in here as opposed to just taking a step outside?
Yeah, I just wonder if some of the shrubs, like especially the blooming ones, if they will, or perennials, if they'll bloom properly or not. I don't think the shade will hurt them, but it may not. It's going to be better than letting them fry.
Oh, for sure. They may not color up.
Yeah,
as
they may
well,
not color
or
out, but I think it'll help them not fry, which is the whole point. So,
but it's easy to remove though, right? Like the shade cloth isn't even pinned down by much.
All you have to do is take the rope off.
Let me show you guys. So the greenhouse fabric, or the greenhouse plastic, is held down by the wiggle wire that's like, there's these little metal channels. This is exactly how our other greenhouse is. You screw these little metal channels onto the bow, and then put your plastic in, and then just kind of put this wiggle wire in. So the plastic is nice and tight, but the shade cloth is just held down by the rope that just crisscrosses up and over the high tunnel and anchors down in the ground. So it wouldn't be an enormous deal to replace it.
With a different shade cloth.
We're gonna work on tidying up the edges here of all this stuff that's just blowing around. Aaron already started over here. We went and got clamps. We couldn't figure out what the best way would be to get these things like nice and tidy, but these work.
So this actually came from Farmer's Friend. You can get these. So I could buy more of these, but these are also only $1 at Home Depot.
Oh, it's just $1 for those.
Yeah.
We need more though, I think.
Yeah, probably. But if you're buying one of these, I would just buy more of these.
So what is this? How does
I don't know what the name of this is. It's just to keep it up. So you put this right here, and it just keeps the plastic from going down.
Oh. Well, that's easy. I don't feel like it's as solid as these are right here, because that actually pinches the fabric or the plastic.
I don't think it's going anywhere though, because the rope will keep it from going out and down, and I think those are fine, and they blend in a little better than the clamps I bought at Home Depot.
So anyway, that's pretty much it about the high tunnel. We will link it all down below, and you guys, that's Farmer's Friend, yeah. I just want to call it Grower's Friend, Farmer's Friend. They have amazing videos, and I think that's what sold Aaron in the end. Like, they had high quality videos on how to put these together and how they worked, and he spent a lot of time watching those and like deciding on what we needed. So if you want to learn more about them, if you have any interest at all in that, definitely check them out. We'll put the link down below. But we're gonna start by running some irrigation today, which is fairly similar to how we run all of our irrigation, but we'll show you anyway. Let me show you our supplies.
I'm doing 3/4 instead of 1/2 inch, and I don't really know why.
Probably don't need it. It depends on how many plants we're...
Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be fine. We'll just use all the 3/4.
Question. I was wondering, how are we going to pop our emitters into 3/4 inch? We don't have a hole punch
yes,
for that.
We do actually.
I feel like that's going to be a lot harder than the one that's like scissors.
We can do 1/2 inch if you want. I'm gonna do it at the end so that I can cut it off.
Okay, this is an experiment.
Okay, so we're gonna test it.
Oh, that's not hard.
Oh.
For you, maybe you can do them all.
Here, try it. You try it.
Okay.
Do not stab yourself.
Yeah. I think I could have been done better at this angle. I'm right-handed, so it'll be on the ground like this, and then it'll look like this.
I think when it's on the ground, you can go straight down on it. I think it'll be easy.
Because we don't need to have them come out the side like we do in the landscape. They can come right off the top because they're going to be going up into plant cans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this will work just fine. And this will ensure a lot of water flow.
Yeah.
So that's good. Anyway, we've got all kinds of adapters, couplers, I should say. Couplers here, there's some elbows and T's and straight couplers, our emitters, clamps, landscape staples. We've got our 1/4 inch tubing. So this is what we will be using. We'll be using probably an emitter. We'll go straight in here, and then the 1/4 inch will hook to that, and then it'll go up into the plant can, and we'll just stake it inside the plant can. We are not sure whether we're gonna put 1 or 2 emitters per container. We're going to start by doing 1 emitter per container, and we might end up doing it in a way where we've got 2, 1 on either side of the root ball, if we don't feel like the saturation is great enough. So at this point, we're just going to start running the irrigation system. We're going to attach to the existing water zone over here, and then we're going to run it around the exterior of the high tunnel, so it'll go along this side on the ground, and then it'll go across the back, and then it'll come back down on this side. And then at that point, we'll probably start bringing plants over. We won't set up any emitters or punch any holes until we know how things need to be spaced. So anyway, the origination of the water, we're gonna be tapping into the very last available zone over here. Okay, quick update tour on where we're at. So this is where we accessed the zone right here. We put on an elbow PVC thing, I don't know. And then an adapter that goes into the PVC, and then there's threads on this side. And then a pressure reducer, 25 PSI, and then an adapter to go down from 3/4 inch to our 3/4 inch drip tube. And we use a clamp here so that it doesn't blow off. And then we will be filling this as a super light trench because this is not permanent out here. But we'll fill this back over, but we don't do that until we've run the system a little bit so that we know, you know, we don't need to make any changes. But we use landscape staples to tack it down. And then it just goes right here. Let me get in the shade here. It goes on the inside all the way down to the end. You can see it there. And this other tube actually feeds the dahlias. So it goes this way. It curves around the end of the high tunnel, and then it just takes off and comes right back down to the end where we capped it. So there's the cap right there. We just put in kind of the same thing we have in the beginning. It has 3/4 inch threads on one side and a 3/4 inch drip or poly adapter. So we slid that on, did the clamp, and then there's this little PVC cap ender thing. Anyway, that should work out. And then we brought these really beautiful Sunjoy citrus barberries over just to set the first ones up, just to iron out any kinks, because this is one you can see right here. If it's not properly watered in their cans, they'll fry. And this is exactly what we want to not have happen. So I think this is gonna be such a great solution. Oh, I'm so excited. So I do think we're gonna set this up a little bit differently in that we will punch our holes like this, but instead of putting our emitter directly into the water access pipe and then the poly, which runs in, let me just pull this out. And then it just drips like this into the can. I think what we're gonna do is do a 1/4 inch coupler rather than the emitter, and then we'll put the emitter on the end so that if we need to swap out the emitter size, we can easily just clip it off and put a new emitter in rather than having to try to pry it out of this pipe, because that's always really hard to do. We started with 2 gallon per hour emitters, and Aaron and I, we don't know whether we should do 1 gallon or 2 gallon. Aaron thinks 2, I think 1's. I don't know. That will definitely be kind of the hard part in the beginning here, is determining how much water for each plant. Every plant is so different, and you know, everything in here is going to be run, it's all in the same system, so it's going to run for the exact same amount of time. We don't want to overwater stuff. We also don't want to, so I don't know if I put like a 2 gallon per hour emitter, is it going to water so fast that it creates kind of a channel through the root ball, not allowing it a chance to soak out and saturate the full root ball, as opposed to a slower drip? Aaron thinks that a slower drip will actually create the channel, not a faster drip. So I don't know. I think we'll probably go with straight 2s all the way around, and I just told him if 2s don't work, then you can come out here and swap them all out for 1s. No big deal. I just don't want to do it. So if we line things up like this, we don't have a ton of huge stuff. It's mostly, you know, kind of this size. If we line everything up by variety and just keep enough space just to walk down the middle, we can actually fit quite a bit in here, I think. I cannot tell you guys how good it feels to be proactive about something like this. Like something we, you know, it's part of our job to keep these plants looking good and all that sort of thing, and it can be rough. It can be rough getting your system set up and trying to figure out and research what is the best way. I mean, it's kind of like setting your containers up or any of your flower beds up on drip, and once you do it, you're like, yes, why didn't I do that sooner? Like, I just saved myself so much headache and so much time and all those sorts of things, and you can't put a price on that. So anyway, at this point, we're just gonna start bringing truckloads of plants over. We're gonna get it all set up, and then we'll give you a tour, and you might like seeing all of the plants that end up in here. Well, we have a little bit more work to do, but we've got quite a number of things in here, and I want to show you what it looks like because it's making me excited. It looks legit back here.
It does look legit.
So this is what it looks like so far, and I'm thinking that these plants are going to be so much happier, getting a little reprieve from the sun. We did end up pulling the shade cloth down a bit out here because the wind comes this direction. It doesn't go down all the way, but as long as the wind doesn't hit the canopy of the plants, they're much less likely to topple over. We went and got the first load, unloaded it right here, and by the time we got back with the second load, a few of the plants had already toppled over because it is slightly breezy today. So I guess it was a kind of a good thing to know that. We initially pulled the plastic down and we thought, well, maybe if it's just down on one side it won't be super hot, but it was. Like almost immediately we were like, nope, this isn't gonna work. We have to just do the shade cloth. But we did decide to do the water a bit differently. So I had showed you we did the 2 gallon per hour emitters on these barberries here. We separated everything by small can and large can. And we're gonna put all of these on 1 gallon per hour emitters and all of these on ½ gallon per hour emitters. Because you can see, like, we ran this water, how many hours ago, Aaron?
Couple, 2 hours,
and
3
it's
hours?
Still sitting there. Yeah.
It'll be wet in here.
Yeah, it will be underneath the fabric, and that was one of the reasons why, like, it's okay if the soil stays wet so long as we are walking on a cleanish surface. And you might notice right here, these are the fruit trees that I bought for the new property. I jumped the gun big time on that purchase. Kind of laugh at myself now going through the process of getting this land set up and getting it to a point where we're able to use it. I now understand what it takes, and I, in my ignorance, thought this winter that it would be all set up and like everything would be golden, Aaron, by like May 1, and I would be able to plant everything. But let me show you what it looks like where we're going to be planting these fruit trees. First off, there's the fruit trees. It actually looks kind of pretty to have them tied up right there. And they're protected from wind. That's the corner where they're gonna go. We're nowhere near ready. We probably won't even be ready by, oh, I don't know. I hope we're ready by next spring, at least for the trees. I think we'll be gardening in this space again next year while we slowly work on that space. But I know that we're gonna be wintering these fruit trees over in their plant cans, the poor things. But let me give you a little look at what's in here. So we've got barberries, we have some totem pole grasses, which they came in really early this spring, and it got down to, what was it, like 19 degrees, like the night that they came. So they got a little set back by that, but they'll bounce, they'll be fine. We've got 3, these are yellow twig dogwoods. We've got some hibiscus in here. These are, what variety? White pillar. It's exciting. A few roses that I picked up earlier this spring at the garden center. I know where this one's gonna go. This is a climber. A couple of heptacodium trees right there in shrub form. A couple more hibiscus, more roses. These are kind of blooming out a little bit. We've got some quickfire hydrangeas looking awesome. Little lime hydrangeas, some boxwoods. I need to trim these because they got a little bit beat down in one of our big rainstorms. You can see they're kind of like struggling a little bit. Then we've got a whole bunch of hibiscus right here. These are the big like dinner plate hibiscus, and like they look good right now, but I always love to hold on to them and wait till they're in bloom to use them for video projects, because I always like to be able to show you guys what a plant, like what you can expect a plant to look like. Golden smoke bush, a few random things like Amsonia and Baptisia, some roses down here, 1 inkberry holly, a couple of arborvitaes to replace ones in case a couple of ours die, and then a couple of spruce trees which I used for our Christmas decorating. And then looking back this way, we've got a lot of blank space, kind of nice. Some tater tot arborvitaes, I love these. Then there are some gin fizz junipers. There are some more hibiscus. We've got some little lime hydrangeas in there, some smaller boxwoods, Arctic fire boxwoods, Celtic pride Siberian cypress. This is a Durvella black, pinpoint blue cypress, some winterberry hollies, and then just a smattering of other things. Now this is one I'm really excited about. I've been waiting to get my hands on one of these for a while. This is a Fothergilla, or bottle brush, called Legend of the Fall. Look it up. The fall color on this thing is amazing. Don't know where this is gonna go, but it needs to go somewhere where I can see it, like all the time. So over the course of the rest of this season and probably into next season with some of these plants, we'll be working them into projects, and this is just kind of the life of a person who makes plant videos. I mean, you usually have this plant hoard, and it's kind of nice to have. It gives you a lot of opportunity and options to use when you are thinking of your own landscape or thinking of projects you can do for other people. And I'm just really thankful to have this high tunnel for a way to keep them looking really good. Now the rest of this is just going to be kind of a tedious process. I mean, we've brought these plants over, but we haven't set any of them up on drip yet. So it's easy, it's just going to take time to do it.
I figure after a month or two we'll have it done.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it, you guys. I just thought you might enjoy seeing this process, learning a little bit about how we are doing things around here, and you were seeing this in the background anyway, so I was getting excited to show you what was going on, and it looks really fun from the front of the cut flower garden. You can look back here and you see the fruit trees, and then you see like some kind of plant life in this high tunnel, and you have to come back here to see what it is, but it's just a fun place to kind of, I don't know, kind of wander around in. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
That's one. It's one. It's one. It's one.
You see one?